Hello, everybody. We're going to have another one of these, and today we're going to talk about the vocabulary term ray. So, before we begin, let's start with our objective. Um, what are we doing? We are able to use and identify basic shapes and terms in geometry. How we're going to do this, we're going to practice along with the video. There's going to be at the end plenty of other options for you to choose, and please feel free to play along with it and see how it feels. And then why? Remember that in order to be able to communicate, we need to know what the words mean and how to use them and talk about them. So let's begin here talking about array. So array is a one-dimensional object with no width or height, comprised of infinitely many points that follow a straight path that has one specific set endpoint. That's a lot of words. But basically, what we're talking about is a piece of a line. Again, just like with the line segment, where it was basically you take a line and then you chop off the ends and then you've got a little piece. This is very similar in that you're starting with a line. You're starting with a line, but really you only care about half of it. You know, you go through, and what I've constructed here on this page is called array. Um, Generally speaking, we're looking for one endpoint on one end and then an arrow on the other end. So it starts off at a point and then goes off in that direction like a line would. When we are naming these things, you'll notice this is the same diagram we've had a lot. Low production budget. We're going to use two letters. So if I'm talking about a given ray, I start by identifying its endpoint, and then I continue by saying, well, it is in this direction. So let's say I want to talk about this ray, ray AB. Let's call it AB. That's up here. First of all, in order to show that it's a ray, I'm going to give it a hat just like I gave everything else. This hat is going to have one arrow like that. Now, it's important to note that the order of the letters actually matters this time. Before it didn't. Before it could have been A B B A whatever. But now A is this first letter right here. In this case, A is always going to be the end point. And then this guy right here, the second letter, is going to help us know the direction. Taking a long time to write this word, but that's okay. Direction. So that is to say, when we want to actually, okay, so what does AB, ray AB look like? Well, we're starting at point A. This is our starting point, and we're going in the direction of B all the way out to infinity. So that's ray AB. Now, if I had wanted ray BA instead, let's get rid of this highlight so we can see what we're doing. Let's find ray AB and ray BA instead so you can see the difference. So with ray BA, again, give it a hat, arrow always goes to the right, and our ray this time doesn't start on A and go in the direction of B. Now it starts on B and goes in the direction of A. So now I'm starting on B, and I'm going in the direction of A all the way out. So notice that AB, when we did AB, it started out over here and went that way because it started at A and went towards B. But with ray BA, it goes the other way. It started out at B and goes towards A. Now, we have a special different type of pair here that we end up talking about a lot, and we call them opposite rays. Opposite rays are a very special situation, where, first of all, they both have to be on the same line, and second of all, they have to have the same endpoint and going in the opposite direction. So in this case, there are two opposite rays in this thing right here. The first one is ray EA. The second one is ray EB. And we know that they are opposite rays because, again, they're connected by the endpoint that they share. See, the endpoint that they share is E. They both have E, and that's sort of their starting point. So if we look here, I'll draw. Here's ray. No. The highlighter here. There we go. Here we have ray EA going like that. And then we have ray, get more contrast in color here, EB going like that. And this is how you know that they're opposite rays. The only thing that they have in common at all is this guy right here in the middle. This is the endpoint, right? For both of them, and that's how we know. One, they make up a single straight line when you connect them together, and two, they only meet in that one little place. If we look back on the previous page, BA and AB, these two rays are not opposite rays, because even though they fulfill most of it, they're on the same line, they're going opposite ways from each other, but they don't simply share a single endpoint. They share a bunch of stuff. They share this whole AB in here. So that's one thing to just pay attention to. All right, so now we've got this diagram right here, and what I want to do is I want to name some opposite rays. Just, however we want to go about it. So I'm just going to name a couple. And I will leave, there are lots and lots and lots here, so you can name a bunch of them if you would like. So let's start with, well, let's look at A. Can we have A be our endpoint for two different rays? Not the way that we've drawn this diagram, because even though we can have a ray starting at A and going in the direction of, say, B, ray AB, you could call it AC. Those would actually all be the same thing. The way we've drawn this, there's no point going to the left. And we could construct one. We could put another one down and go, let's call that point H. And now we've got AH and AB. For the purposes of our diagram here, we can just sort of say, well, A can't be an endpoint right now. So let's start with our first actual possible endpoint, B. So I can have two rays starting at B, right? I can have ray BA, and I can have ray BC. And these are two opposite rays. You know that they're opposite rays because you start on B and you go towards A. You start on B You go towards C. And look, you've got those two opposite rays. BA, BC. And by the way, BC could also be, you could also name it BD. And these would be the same. Or BF. Or BH. All of these guys right here are different names for the same thing. And the reason that they're the same thing is because, again, this second letter only tells you which direction you're going. So if you're going in the direction of C, that's also the direction of D, or it's the direction of F, or it's the direction of H. So what I would like you to do in your own spare time, or even just as you're sitting here listening to me talk, pick a different point. Maybe pick D. Use D as yours. And then find two opposite rays from D. Name them. All right. Until next time, be well.